Starting the video recording. I really don't want to host though, so. Oh, fine, I'll do it. Welcome, challengers, to Battleground of the Gods, a Smite podcast. I am your host today, FroDoubleG, and joining me we have Nevea03
Hey everybody, how's it going?
and Riggs a Tony. Or is it just
I feel
Riggs?
bad for, and it's whatever you want it to be, Poppy.
Oh, oh
I
my.
I feel bad for saying no to hosting because that was probably the most depressing intro I've ever heard.
I'm not like I don't do the like welcome challengers. Mainly because like I'm also the one who's been a big proponent of hey Depp, quit fucking peeking at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, don't blow out your fucking mic at the beginning of every episode.
Just
Yeah.
right up at the top.
That's always a classic edit maneuver, is immediately turning Depp down right there at the intro.
Although
Just get that whole little section.
to be fair, he's done it so long and just so consistently that I no longer even try to regulate people's volume in the first like minute of the episode. I just do it a little after, and then let's see how we are when we get to like games this week, right? But
That's fair.
speaking of games this week, I'm just gonna go ahead and save a whole bunch of time and say my games this week look like Overwatch. Um, so there's a little bit of Smite sprinkled in there, but uh, I brought it up in the past. I'm a huge fan of Paladins and like that genre of games. I just didn't ever buy Overwatch. But Overwatch 2 came out and it's free, and I downloaded it, and I've been having a fucking blast. Not necessarily great because I don't know anybody's like kit too terribly well or anything like that, but there's some that like resemble a lot of Paladins people, and some of it's like simple concepts, right? Like, yeah, you got the character with the turrets. Yeah, you got the sniper. Yeah, this person's the throws out fucking grenades and shit. So I get it. I get it. Every fucking shooter's got the RC. You know what I mean? So it's been
It's like later on when we get to the patch notes, everyone's like, "Oh, Maui's just Thresh from League of Legends." Like, yeah, every game has like every classic character-based game has similar characters. It's crazy.
yeah. If you have a game mode, right,
There's only so many like
or
archetypes you can make.
yeah, or a game style, there's gonna be it. Like, how many shooters in general? Take look at like Halo. Not even like your class-based shooters, but just look at like Halo. Of course, there's gonna be at some point deployable shields. Like, come on, let's be real. Like that shit's going to exist, or like a bubble shield, or you're gonna have some sort of like deployable health area depending on the game or shit like that. Like there, yeah, like you said, there's just so many
There's
ways you
always
can do
going to be
certain
bleed
things.
over into other games of the same genre.
I
That
can't
will
wait
always
until
be a thing.
I can't wait until we get a character like I forget their name in League of Legends, but in if you imagine like Mulan's 3, but they can zip and do it a few times off walls. Like when we get a character like that, right? And then they're gonna be like, "Look at this character that's just like this League of Legends character." It's like, well, yeah, because zipping from wall to wall in a MOBA is a thing.
If I may ask, I know that you can say you did not play Overwatch 1. And so for, I believe, Overwatch 2, if you didn't play the first game, you have to unlock the characters, right? Like most of them, you have to
Mm-hmm.
unlock. If I might ask, who have you been enjoying so far in Overwatch? Like which characters?
Who have I been enjoying, or who have I just been like hard maining? Because I found someone and latched the fuck on.
Do you
Uh,
not enjoy the character you're maining?
no, I mean I
I
do
hope
I feel
you
enjoy it,
like
are.
but like I said,
those go
like
hand in hand.
it's one of the things like I've been testing and playing with the other characters, but I think I got like 6 or 7 hours into it already, and 90% of it's all on Moira.
Hell yeah,
Like
dude.
I love me some Moira. So in Paladins, I loved Yenos, right? I like me a healer who can do good, solid, reliable heals. But if he gets called out in like a 1v1, can actually hold their own, not necessarily going to win, but could hold their own enough, right? Or get the fuck out. And it's like, wow, this character's got all of that. It's got its little dash to get the fuck out. Like, if I need to fucking 1v1 someone, you can throw out the little heal ball and then start doing your little siphon thing, and like no one can kill you for the most part unless it's multiple people, and in which case you should die. You can be real effective from a distance with your heal or from a decent distance with your heal and your little heal ball and your damage ball if needed. Super fucking great in like close quarters though. Really excel short range. Really long range, she does kind of fall apart, like real long range. And there's a few maps where it's like, oof, not the character to play. But besides that, I just started playing some Torbjorn. Wow. I should say that again before one of these Swedes get upset. Torbjorn. He's been all right. A little interesting to learn. Mercy is boring as fuck. If you're a Mercy main, I don't get you. I'm a healer
Mercy
main.
is like the equivalent to an Afro main in Smite, dude. It's
No,
like...
no.
I'm not saying the character is, but like if the type of people that play Mercy play Afro as well, like they're the same people.
No. Let me correct you. The type of people who play Mercy are the type of people who play Afro and pocket a Susano.
That's I just figured that part was included. If you're gonna play Afro, you have
there's
to
other
have
Afros out there. There's other Afros out there who we're sleazy, but we're not that sleazy. Okay, let's differentiate. Yeah, I don't get fucking Mercy. Mercy is just, I mean, I get her. There's nothing to not get about Mercy. It's just so boring. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, but heroes never die, dude.
She's a hero?
No, she says that all the fucking time whenever she raises people. Like, heroes never die.
Oh,
you just hear that all the time. There's a Mercy in the game. You just hear a res. Heroes never die, like across the fucking map.
I also hate when there's a Mercy because, like, if you have like a Genji or one of the fucking, all right, I'll put it in Smite terms, right? I hate when the assassin jumps on the back line, right, and you have someone like who's equivalent to an Afro per se, and it's like you do absolutely no fucking damage and cannot help me get this fucking Susano off our ass. Like, thanks.
The Mercy and Genji are Aphrodite and Susano, straight up.
Yeah, that's a great way to word it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Now put it in this situation, they're not on the same team. Like, imagine a Susano just running this Afro and friend down, and the friend's like, yo, Afro, you're fucking worthless trying to help me kill this.
I feel like anytime I have a Genji on my team, there's also a Mercy, and the Mercy is always latched on the Genji. Meanwhile, I'm trying to tank, and I'm the only one on the point, and I keep dying, and I'm like, I have a Mercy, but she's too busy, being on the Genji's ass all the time.
Those are like the Overwatch couples. Like, we have the Smite couples, right? You queue in together, you see a 25-star Afro and a 35-star Susano, and then that's the equivalent in Overwatch. You queue in, you get a fucking Mercy with like a weird legendary skin attached to a Genji with a legendary skin, and they're just rumming it down the whole game.
I think where you're forgetting to include the other, like, absolute disgusting part where there's the not Fernando, what's his name, Reinhardt Mercy, which is essentially like Ares Mercy, and it's like, oh, or Ares Afro. It's like, oh my god, you are so cringe. That's the other part that frustrates me more is the Mercy on your team will not get off the tank when you're like playing the DPS or another healer, right? And you're like, yo, you have to heal someone besides the full health tank. Like, there's other people who need healing besides the full health tank.
I have the reverse problem. Anytime I'm a tank, the healer is never on me, and I'm the only tank because I queue roll queue rather than open queue. So I'm the only tank, and I'm the only one on the point, and nobody's there, including my healer.
I think I should
that.
preface this a little bit by saying that when I play Moira, I've noticed a lot of other people, and I've heard from a lot of people that a lot of Moiras like to try to throw out the damage. I am a healer. That is my first and foremost mindset. So a lot of times I'm just like, yo, I would like to throw this ball of healing at our back line, right? Not towards our Mercy, who's running up and staying in the bunch of shit and won't get off from our person who doesn't need healing at the moment. Our backline does, and help me the fuck out. Or, like, I would like to throw some damage to help our backline, but I have to heal them because you won't get off the fucking Reinhardt.
Yeah, I have the Nev problem where I'll play a tank, and it's like Fro was saying, like I also love play Moira. That's like the only healer I play really, just for the fact, like you said, you can do good damage and you can heal a shit ton. Like it's pretty standard for me to get like a 10k healing game and also like a 6k damage game, and like as Moira, it's pretty she's can do a lot of both. And I'll have the Nev problem where I'm playing a tank, and I'll look at my Moira's like behind enemy lines 1v1ing their team, like trying to just be a fucking hero. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And then of course she dies, and then I get the VGS spam equivalent to Smite, where it's group up, group up, group up. I'm like, what do you want me to do, dog? Like, I'm on the payload, dog. I'm taking a ride. You're back there where they spawn.
Oh my god, divas. All you
Oh no,
fucking
no, no,
divas.
no! Don't say that. Don't say that.
Don't
No,
diss Diva.
I'm dissing diva
Nev
players.
is a diva, in both ways.
Quit charging and chasing the enemies. You ain't gonna. Okay, yeah, you could
Oh,
probably
I don't
fucking
do
kill.
that.
You can probably fucking kill. Don't get me wrong. But this Genji is gonna just completely destroy all of us, right? Tanks quit chasing kills, right? Why does this hold over in all games? It's like we're talking shit about the archetype of like abilities in games. But it's kind of funny how like you still have the archetype of like player mindsets and not in their role. Tanks shouldn't be chasing kills. You got fucking healers who won't heal people who actually need. They just pocket one person. You have, yeah, it's crazy.
Listen, I will defend a little bit on the not healing the DPS, because a lot of DPS in that game has self heals, but and a lot of tanks don't. Besides like Hog and maybe like a couple others, but for the most part, I do agree. But I will say a lot of tank, I think, is the most important role in Overwatch, just because they took away 2 tanks. Now there's only 1 tank, so I think tank is the most important. So you got to keep him topped up. Even if he's at full health, he's going to take a little bit of damage because he's a tank. You got to keep him topped off, you know.
And I get
I'm
that,
just
but
tired
it's
of being
even
on the
one of the
point by
tips.
myself and low HP and the healers attached to somebody who doesn't need healing at all.
That's because your healer's somebody that attaches to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
No, my main thing was like it's even one of the tips in for like Moira about how like don't overheal people, mainly because her one ability like costs a charge, and if you don't recharge it another way, right, you'll end up running out of it. But like that still kind of does apply just in general. It's like there's no need to like overheal. Granted, Mercy, it's just her gun that heals, so it's no like ability or anything or cooldown or resource. But it's just, I don't know. Spread it out.
Oh, fun facts. Fun fact about Moira, for I don't know if you know this, but you know that her, like what you're talking about, like her bait, like her auto attack heal, basically. You know
Hmm?
that ticks, so you don't need to like constantly spray people. You just spray them like 1 tick, and it heals them like 75 per tick. I think it ticks like 3 times. You can just like tap people, and it'll tick.
No, but I'm kind of a shitter, and I haven't quite picked up on like how much you gotta actually hit them with it.
Yeah, you just do like 1 tap, just tap them, and it'll take a couple seconds. So you don't need to just be fucking spray painting them with your hand.
That's what I do. That's what I do because I'm like it's hard.
Yeah,
for
you
me.
don't need to do
Me
that.
too.
Well,
I'm like,
'cause-
why are you healing faster?
And it also it's taken me a second to realize that when you hit someone with a projectile heal like that, there's a delay to the heal.
Yeah,
because that's
yeah.
cost me to like with I've been trying out Ana, which
Ana's fun, dude.
there's no like smite equivalent, but she's a sniper. We all know what snipers are, right? But she's a sniper who can shoot her allies and heals them. It took me a second to be like, yo, I just shot that dude. Why isn't he healing? Until it's like out of combat, like we're running to the point and I like shot someone, and then there's like a full like 3/4 of a second to a second pause before you see the heal come up, and I'm like, okay, this is making a lot more sense now. And like something I like looked out for. I just noticed this today, like 2 or 3 games ago before I started recording, and it's like something I like noticed on Moira. Like maybe it's on her too, but it's a little hectic when you go to use the Moira heal.
Yeah, there's a couple that are like delayed ticks like that, and there's a couple that are instant.
Yeah, is
Also,
Moira
another
a
fun
delay
fact
one
on
too?
Ana.
Is that?
Yeah, it takes a second for it to tick.
Okay, so that's making a lot of sense too. Because I'm like, there's been times, and I just assume maybe you gotta like spray him for a bit before to get on, or like the hitbox wasn't quite hitting, but it's all making sense now.
It's a bit
Also,
of a delay, and
real
also
quickly before I pass on my games here, Asbestos Dog said his buddy plays Moira and refers to that as her piss, right? And we had a bit of a chuckle, right? But then he says that he literally says, "I'm out of piss," referring to the heal when he's playing. And I joked around and said it once while we were playing. Now I can't stop saying it because it is just kind of a real good way to communicate that I'm out of my heal. It's just like out of piss. All right, I'm done.
I've been calling it paint. I've been calling it my spray paint.
I like piss though.
I don't know. I'd clip that. Bro, like piss.
Clip it.
Clip it.
Clip it.
Ship it.
Nev, how have your games been?
Also a lot of Overwatch. I did put in our chat here as well as on Twitter. I got a quadra kill on D.Va, and then I remembered all the things that I enjoyed about Overwatch 1 came rushing back to me. So I'm glad Overwatch 2 is somewhat working. When I first started playing, it was not. I didn't have access to any of the heroes that I already had unlocked for a few days. That was awkward. But now it's working, and yeah, I've been playing a lot of Overwatch and doing the tank main thing. It's very interesting. People in my stream have been asking me.
You're a tank main?
Yeah, that's what I was
I
about to
thought you
say.
were a
They're
healer
like,
main.
they were like,
Yeah.
what do you like to play in Overwatch? And I'm like, oh, I love playing tanks, so I'll play tank all day. I will queue that tank.
Well, it's because I've only seen you post a clip of. Now I know who it is. It was Lucio knocking somebody off, and then you talking about Moira. So
I mean,
you were a healer
that's
main.
that's my second favorite role is the support role. But
no, right? It's like the only 2 times I've heard you talk about Overwatch was posting a clip of Lucio and talking about Moira. So I'm like, yep, Nev's a tank or a healer main. Got it.
Nope, actually a tank main. But that is my secondary is support. Lucio's my favorite in that role. Just because I like the speed boost. Speed boost actually works really well with the robot pushing as well. You can get it turned around real quick.
And because you can pump up the jam.
And you can pump it up.
Pump the jam, pump it up.
And
then
no, but I'm a tank main. Did you not see my quadra kill as D.Va in the chat?
I saw that in person. You gotta fucking. We're playing with Nev and Trevor and some other people, and fucking Nev just slamming D.Va. And like
I got
3
like
games in a row, Nev got play of the game because she just would fly her dumbass mech into like 4 people, and they'd all just look at it, and be like, "Oh, what's that? What's that glowing ball?" And then they just fucking boom on them, and then she could play the game. Even when we lost a couple of those games, it just Nev play Nevea 03 play of the game.
Play of the game.
A new player, I will say it is a little frustrating trying to figure out the range of that fucking exploding suit.
It's big, dude. But as you get behind any wall whatsoever,
literally any wall,
that big of a wall, like the smallest wall, it'll block it. So
you can literally get behind any wall and you'll be fine.
Well, it's just like it. You have it feels like you should be safe, right? And I keep dying at a range from like, all right, I'm good. I'm not gonna get hit by it. And it just utterly one shot. And it's like, oh fuck. Especially with Moira. I don't know if Moira has less health than anyone else, or like how they do that.
Supports
She
do in general, yeah.
feels like she has less health by far than anyone else because I just get one shot by people constantly. Like literally Hanzos, they terrify me because they literally one shot me. Like I watched a hunt just pop, and I was like, I was at full HP. I was at full HP, just dead. Like what am I to do?
You got headshotted, baby. Any headshots will kill a support one shot. So like any Widowmakers, Hanzos, trying to think of who else. Sword, what is it? What's that one chick's name? Sojourn or whatever. The
Sojourn.
one with like the the one with like the laser secondary fire. Any like hit scan will like headshot will one shot a support. And most DPS, honestly. But so you just gotta be careful. Gotta watch your head.
But
Or just hope
yeah,
you don't play against a really good DPS.
I have been doing a lot of Overwatch, and I did stream the past couple of days some Smite, and nothing super notable about my games. Just having a good time playing some non-conquests with the viewers. Fro made me do a full HP build during All Out Slash yesterday. Actually, ended up working out real well. We had a random on our team that was like, "What is happening?" And I'm like, "Just trust the process, okay? Trust the process." But that was actually a really fun build, and actually towards the end really kind of came together. I waited way too long to build Thebes. That was my problem. I should have built Thebes like first or second. But I was all out slash 4 Nuas and 1 Thor. And I was of course a Nua. Because all I wanted to do was play Nua. I didn't realize that 3 other people on my team were also gonna play Nuwa. But that's okay. It was a good time. That about does my games of the week. Riggs, how was your week?
So back to Battleground of the Overwatch heroes.
It be like that sometimes.
Played a lot of Overwatch. I'm actually the opposites. It's kind of weird how that works, right? Nev plays like mages and hunters in Smite, but she plays tanks in Overwatch. I play tanks a lot in Smite, and I play a lot of healers in Overwatch and a lot of DPS.
Wait, you're the
And
healer main?
I am the healer main in Overwatch, yeah. It's funny how that works, right?
Fro is learning a lot about his co-host right now.
It's weird. I love the role of support, like supporting a team, like like in traditional sports, right? If I was to play like basketball, I'd play point guard. You get to facilitate your team, make them better. And in football, when I play football, I used to play quarterback. You get to facilitate the team, facilitate the offense. In Smite, though, I've just never resonated with a lot of the Guardian kits. I feel like a lot of them like they do like obviously they do support the team and they do like set up your team. I just feel like it's a little bit different in Smite than other games. And so like Overwatch, I love support, like facilitating the team. Because healers, I feel like it's weird to call that category a healer because like yeah, a lot of them do heal, but like a lot of their jobs isn't just to heal. It's also they have a lot
I'm
of beneficial things for the team.
I'm calling it healer because I've been playing Smite for 5 years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean like and
And
a lot of them
and
do heal in some way.
because I play the class because I'm not a support player, right? Like I don't enjoy becoming a support player. In all games, I've always played the healer. When I played DC Universe Online, I was an electric healer. Like when I like in any game I play, I always like to play the healer. You know what I mean? So it's like healing's
Yeah.
always been my thing. Even in Smite, like when you looked at like the first characters like I started resonating with and actually got diamond, Aphrodite, Sylvanas, Chang'e, like Hercules, like people with healing. Like that was my shtick. I still like it.
Well, and like in Smite too, like there's not really like a support healing like category. If you're the support in Smite, you're a tank. Like yeah, you do other things, but you are like those two roles are kind of combined. Whereas in Overwatch, they're separate, which I like because you can be a support and you're not the tank. The tank is its own entity, and so I kind of gravitate towards support. Like you said, I play a lot of Moira, and if you ask Enbright, he fucking loves that character because in his words, you don't have to aim anything, and it takes no skill whatsoever to play that character. So he absolutely loves it. Uh, I also
So
play a ton of.
I gotta ask because I forgot to bring this person up, but another one I've been enjoying a lot because my second favorite's actually like I bring up Torburn or whatever, fucking whatever his name is.
Jesus Christ, dude, you're making the Swedes hate you right
I
now.
really am, but you know what? Fuck stuff. So, what do you like, or what do you think about Sigma? Both of you. Like I've been having a blast with that guy as well. Been
Yeah,
like,
Sugma's pretty cool. I
you say
call him
Sugma?
Sugma.
Okay, I was like, hold
Yeah, I
up,
call him
am I saying
Sugma.
it
You have
wrong?
to.
Well, hold
No,
because
yeah, I'm saying it wrong.
there's Brigitte or whatever.
It's Bridget, dude. Don't fucking. It's Brig or it's Bridget. It's not Brigitte. People just call her Brig though, because it's easier than saying Bridget. But it's Bridget.
I feel like this is like one of the like. It's just the American way of saying her name.
Me
I'm
sitting
like
here judging both of you because of all the shit y'all used to give me for saying Uller or Uyer. Just saying.
ooh yeah. No way you said ooh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oulier is
I
not
wish I
the
knew you back
American
then.
way of saying it though. That's just the
I wish I knew you
Nev
back
way
then.
of saying it.
I would have gave you so much shit if I knew you said it like that. Oh man. But no, I'm like 95% sure it's Bridget. But why would you say, oh, Bridget, or whatever? Just say Brig.
Well,
It's like
I
10
just
times
thought it
faster.
was Bridget, right? Because I didn't realize that no, it was supposed to be whatever, like German or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, well, Brigitta or Brigida, I don't know. I haven't heard. Well, I haven't heard her actually pronounce it. I've just had like a whole bunch of internet weebs like Bright tell me how I saying it wrong and like Key. So it's like
Yeah.
maybe I haven't played her yet.
Yeah, I've learned to just ignore Enbright when he says something like that. It works out pretty well most of the time. But I've also been slam jamming a lot of Baptiste. He's kind of sick. He's probably my secondary healer if I
Baptiste is
have
pretty
to.
cool. Yeah. I
Yeah, I
tried
think
I
Baptiste
tried
is really
him
cool.
I tried him for the first time yesterday or the day before. Yeah, I like him.
If
Don't have him
if
unlocked
Moira's
yet.
taken for if Moira's taken for once you unlock him, I think you might like Baptiste because he's pretty similar where he can actually do a decent amount of damage, but he's also really good at healing too. Like you
Oh
can
yeah,
kind of play
I've looked at him. He's
both.
got his little thing he throws up. He's got don't die area. Like yep.
Yeah,
He's
he
on
has
my
he has
radar.
an
I'm waiting. I'm like, cause
he's
how
really
was it?
cool.
They got a certain amount of wins, or no, certain amount of games played, but wins are twice as much. And I think I'm at like, I don't know, like fucking 90 or some shit like that. And you got to get to like, it was 100 or 150? I think it's 150 for him. I got almost everybody
Whenever you get
unlocked.
there, I think he'll be pretty sick for you because he fills the same kind of shoes as Moira where he's not really like a pure healer. He can also do a lot of damage. His ult's pretty cool. Makes you do a shit ton of damage. But he also is a really good healer. I don't know. I think I like those kind of characters where you can kind of flex and be a little bit of both.
See, for me, it's not necessarily the
Uh,
flex. It's just the like, you don't get called out as bad. What I mean?
well, you're not
It's
like pigeonholed to like a role. Like if you play Mercy, I mean, you're pretty much you're just healing people or making them do more damage. You're not really like doing damage yourself, right?
right,
Like
right.
you're kind of pigeonholed to a specific role. Whereas like Moira and other people, you can actually like do other shit. You feel like you're contributing more because you can actually like do shit.
Right. Yeah, that's why it's like Lucio, Moira, Baptiste looks like pretty fun. Ana, I'm absolute trash with, but like Ana,
Ana's really fun if you can work out the sniper. She's kind of a more like skill based character. Not saying you're not good, but just like
no, I'm not
she
good.
is very hard to play like well.
It also like doesn't help. I don't know the map, so it's like, hey, I'm gonna post up in this spot, and then there's just literally like someone else just kills me. It's like, oh well, That sniper knows a better spot.
Yeah. And she's also an example too, like I was saying earlier, of just like not really. She's not only a healer. Like she's one of the only characters in the game that has anti-heal. So like you throw a grenade on enemies and they're anti-healed. That's like a huge deal in that game because there's not that much of that in the game. There's a lot of healing. So
Yeah, I picked her because we were around that little desert area where there's a little pit, and I knew she had the anti-heal and heal thing, and I'm like, well, that's great in that little pit, right? You just throw that down there, and it'll help you take control of it and dominate the area a little bit. But the side we were coming up on didn't, or at least I didn't know where to get to a decent spot to like get a good angle to like shoot people, and the other guy just had this spot he could stand on. They picked, I think it was not a Widowmaker, but it was another actual, just like actual sniper, and was just murking us, especially me because he could one shot me.
or you put him to sleep as Ana and you sit there and teabag him and spray on him, and then your whole team just comes and kills him. That's a classic right there.
I'll have to try it.
Yeah, it's like Kumba mess because they wake up if you damage them. So you put them to sleep and then your whole team just comes around and starts teabagging them.
Speaking of classics and bringing it back to Smite here real quickly, one of my favorite old time like clips in Smite was the video of the Fenrir like waiting in the jungle. The guy comes around the corner and the Fenrir stands up and waves at him, and he's got like no HP, and then just instantly starts brutalizing him and just fucking murks the dude. I love it. Love it.
Well, like you said, speaking of Smite, I did actually play some Smite this week. Unfortunately, no crazy games to talk about, but I will talk about a game that I was not physically participating in, but I would like to call myself the brains of the operation that was going on behind the scenes because there was one beautiful, long-haired, majestic man named Blaze McBain, friend of the show, was streaming, doing something of a non-conquest challenge. For what's the name of the thing? Because it's BMT's thing, right? That they're putting together like the non-conquest, like stuff like that.
I'm not sure if it's BMT and Blaze, but they are calling it Uber Casual Smite.
That's what it's called, yeah. And they had a challenge, basically like their first kind of community challenge, whatever you want to call it, was basically speed running the conquest map in a bot game. And all the bots on the enemy team had to be like the default characters. So like, you have your Ymir, your Neith, Ra, Guan Yu, and Thor. And that was really fun to watch. It's a lot harder than you think, right? Because I think the time to beat was like 5 minutes and like 20 seconds, maybe like 15 seconds, something like that. I think is what BMT got it to. And I was watching Blaze in that group try to do it and try to beat that time. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever watched, if you're like watching speedrunning in like other games, but like it's kind of hard to do that in Smite. This is kind of the closest we can get to it. But whenever you watch speedrunners and there's like one little mistake that they make at some point where it doesn't even look like it's that big of a mistake, but like as far as time goes, it's a big mistake. That like these little mistakes cost so much time in the end. And that's what kept on happening to Blaze in their group was that like somebody would accidentally like take tower aggro and take a tower shot. And that was like really big deal early game because that's a huge chunk of health they just lost. And it was like little things like that kept on adding up. And it was really fun to watch because it was like, it's more so about strategy than it is like mechanics in the game because you're just playing bots, like who cares. But it came down to a lot more about strategy, and it was really really interesting to watch and be a part of because I was in chat and I was kind of like trying to be the brains of the operation. We were all like brainstorming like, well, what if we swap out an Amaterasu for a Horus and we Horus ult minions from one lane to another lane to push the Phoenix? We could have 2 waves of minions and we'll have a Tyrannical Plate Helm to buff all those minions so we can get the Phoenix. It's like, we're just like every possible scenario of like, well, there's little intricacies of the game that you could think of. Like we were all trying to like brainstorm and try to figure out and try to get the fastest time to kill Titan. It was really, really fun to be a part of. I think they settled at the end. It was like the best strategy was having a soul because you can build up heat really easily and you can shred towers early game. The hunters were disputed on. There was a lot of Apollo being played. There was Hachiman because the banner. There was a lot of Rama for the stim, and like Scotty to be able to throw her dog to tank structures was really helpful. Nuwa was obviously the big one because she could spawn minions and was really helpful to tank stuff. Fafnir was thrown in there for the buff and all that, but it was just like it was really cool to be a part of. I kind of want to do it myself, but that was basically what my Smite week consisted of, was playing Overwatch and watching that go down.
So
Also, the horror strategy was my idea. I just want to take credit for that. I said they should horror ult because they were having trouble ending the game because their minion wave would die to the Phoenix before they could get to the Titan room, so they didn't have any minions to take Titan. So I was like, yo, horror ult minions from the other lane to mid. And then they had Tyrannical Plate on Nuwa, so they were like, Tyrannical Plate, 2 waves of minions, Phoenix dead, Titan, and I was like, I'm so fucking smart, dude.
So
it didn't work though. They still didn't beat the time.
I think we're gonna go ahead and jump to the community corner real quickly because it's pretty appropriate. Because the community corner this week was going to be, or is going to be, come up with a game mode similar to the bot speed run like that. We're just kind of curious. I mean, you've been playing Smite long enough, like we have. You got to do some meme shit, some different stuff to keep it interesting, right? And B, we're wholeheartedly going to let Blaze and Leaf Warrior pick apart your guys' ideas. They're both in our Discords already, and it'll help them out. Content for us. It's a big. This is a big win-win for everybody. So let's hear what you got. I personally have been thinking about what if they were to try to get a couple teams together, right? Obviously, you need a few teams, but try to get as many streamers as you can, whether they're big time streamers, little streamers, you know what I mean? Well, I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter what size streamer at all. But like, try to get as many of them.
I'm 5 foot tall. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I just mean like it doesn't matter if they get like
I know
20 people or like 0 people, or like even if they don't, maybe this could encourage some people to start streaming. But like, encourage stream sniping. The entire like have just like round or not a round robin, like 1 round elimination, but like literally have it be known at present everybody's links and just like snipe the shit out of each other the entire time as you're playing, and just have it be known that at any moment you could be sniped, right? Or like people watching your screen. That was
dude.
just...
If I was on that, if I was doing that, I would never get into Nev's games because I try to snipe her all the time and it doesn't work.
Well, not okay. Not like snipe their queues, but like because it'd be like a versus, like in custom matches and shit like that. But like, imagine playing your match, like knowing wholeheartedly you have the entire enemy team watching your every move.
Yeah,
but you could also be watching theirs. But like, it could promote, be good for the little streamers, get people to check them out, follow them, shit like that.
I was gonna make a suggestion as far as like if anyone's ever played Halo custom games, which if you didn't do that back in the day, what are you doing? I was gonna make a suggestion similar to stuff like that. Like try to think in the realm of like just fun, silly shit you can do. Like I was talking to Fro about it beforehand, where there was one I saw. I don't want to say it was Weekend just because I don't want to give Weekend credit for anything because I don't like Weekend, but I think it might have been Weekend who did like a Pokemon thing in Smite where it's 2 teams in a custom game. One team has like a trainer, quote unquote, on each team who's like the leader of the team. They get to pick what gods the other people on their team are using, and then it's basically just like a Pokemon battle if you ever play Pokemon, where it's just turn based. One team's like, "Hey, Anubis, ult now," and like the Anubis ults the other team member, and then if they're still alive, and be like, "All right, Ymir, use your 2 now," and just like shit like that. Just fun, like Fro saying, fun, silly shit. That's not like, the most complicated game in the world. Like I know in the community we've played what's it called? Raid Boss, where like it's like 1 versus 5 and the 5 can only build like certain items, stuff like that. Just or Fight Club. Fight Club's a classic one we've played before. Go to the arena map, just want to mano in the middle of the arena map, take turns. A little shit like that.
The closest I've came to getting a decent raid boss is plowing a starter, right? And a T1 Pridwin, whatever that stone is. So you get the 10% cooldown and a starter.
That would be Gem of Fate, I think.
That's the closest I've seen to a decent raid boss nowadays. But even
yeah,
then,
it used to be way better when you could build all the starters.
Yeah, but now the passive on some of the starters, it's like, yeah, level 20 hunter with just the death toll can still smack a little bit. You know what I mean?
But yeah, anything like that, let us know. I will at you guys at the moment.
Thank you very much. I grab my phone here, and this is why I didn't really want to host too much, and open up the show notes, see what we're on to. We are on to patch notes. So we're just gonna hop right into it. Also, Maui, new god.
Hey, super cool.
You guys asked for it, so what can they say except
you're welcome.
They finally put another god of my people's pantheon in the game. Finally, it's just not fucking Pele. I'll take this opportunity to say that I am half Hawaiian. I know I look like a pasty white boy with red hair. I am also half Hawaiian. I can prove it, so I can take claim of this. But yeah, Maui's pretty cool.
You're Hawaiian?
I am, yeah. I can post a picture. My grandma was born in Hawaii, and my whole dad's side of the family is like all Hawaiian. I don't look anything like my dad's side of the family.
I mean, but you don't have to convince me
guy.
too terribly much. I'm also incredibly pale and can't stand in the sun. Meanwhile, my dad look Mexican AF, right? But
but I can stand the sun. I'm not. The sun doesn't bother me. I'm not that kind of white boy.
No, I'm that kind. I'm that kind. It ended with my dad. To be fair, I don't like my dad's generation. Only 2 of the 3, or 2 of the 5, have darker skin at all, and it just literally ended. There's only 1 of the grandkid generation that have dark skin at all. And it's like, yeah, no, we're all pretty pale now.
Speaking of pale, Maui is not. Let's talk about Maui.
Maui's great. I went into PTS, and this is the thing that I've been doing the last couple of patches. I don't actually read the patch notes before trying out the new god, so that way my reactions to everything are very genuine. We're not going to sit here and read everything word for word, but I will say that his movement ability, his 3, is really cool. Very cool dynamic to it, and his ultimate is really insane. He has a really interesting passive as well. So for any time like a hard crowd control hits an enemy god around Maui, they become marked. And if he basic attacks them, his next basic attack becomes enhanced. And that means the enemy is pulled to him when Maui basic attacks them. And I thought that was really neat. That's a really cool mechanic for a passive.
It's a pull that doesn't proc DR, I'm pretty sure, because it's not like I don't know how it's coded, but when they did it on patch and the show, it like wasn't it wasn't DRing them, I'm pretty sure. So I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. No,
Right,
I think
so
when I read that, I was like, wow, that's really crazy.
I think just on tradition here, I have to try to pronounce this.
Yeah, good luck.
I think I have a decent shot. Mana Ana Kali. Or Mana Aya.
Ollie, you skipped like half the last part.
I know. I know. That's why I said. That's why I really went for it again. Mana Aya Kalaani.
I don't know how to pronounce it, so I can't say yes or no.
And just for a refresher for you Smite fans, hard crowd control is the type of crowd control that makes it impossible to do one of the following actions: basic attacks, non-movement abilities, and movement inputs. So disarm, disorient, fear, madness, mesmerize, root, silence, slippery surface like Scotty Ice, stun, and taunt.
In layman's terms, hard crowd control is anything that makes you not go 'Cause that's what I thought you were gonna do. It was like anything that makes you want to go, and then I thought you were gonna like start doing the thing like and then you just started
No,
saying actual shit.
no.
Thought you were gonna hit him with
No.
the.
So anytime any of that happens around Maui, he can basic attack them, and then that will pull them towards Maui. So thought that
Yeah,
was really interesting.
shout out to the programmers. I mean, in general, but also for Maui because they said that they were talking about this on patch notes, and I think it's true. The anything with rope in
Hmm.
games is always hard to program and code and all that because it's just a weird material and it's
Right.
weird to make it work physically and all that. And literally everything with Maui has to do with a rope,
Has to do with a rope. Exactly.
except for his two,
Yep.
but that's about it.
Yep. His passive is 1 and his 3 all have rope. So
And this is
speaking of
also
the one,
aggro's first god, by the way.
yeah,
So shout
and
out to aggro.
Aggro actually also worked really closely with Davion, the Olympian as well, um, because he is Hawaiian. So they were working together and like communicating uh, the goal and the hopes and I guess the inevitable release of Maui. So you love to see it.
I'm
Uh,
super excited that they released Maui, and I'm even more excited that the community did not have a bad backlash to it.
yeah, no, it's a
Because
beautiful release for sure.
well, it's a legitimate concern
Hmm.
that people were gonna get pissy because it wasn't the Maui from Moana, nor
Yeah,
was it
fuck off
voiced by
with
The
that.
Rock.
Like,
Yeah,
I know so many people were
it's
so like bitchy about that. It's not Dwayne John. Like, fuck off. They're not gonna pay fucking The Rock to voice this shit. Like, that was never gonna be that.
and I'm just glad that like that's far from the majority. Most people are like,
Hmm.
no, this guy looks awesome, his kit looks awesome, he sounds awesome, design's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like you're saying too, like I'm sure a lot of people were joking when they're like, well, "Where's The Rock?" And if that's the biggest complaint about the release, then I feel like that's a success.
For
Like,
real.
if people were just bitching about fucking The Rock not being the voice of somebody, that's like the least of your worries.
and there is
Uh,
one thing to say about, hey, it's kind of upsetting that they couldn't have him, but that's it. Like, a little upset. I'm bummed a bit, but we all know. Like, okay, cool, move on. That's cool. Like, we get it. It's a legitimate thing. It would have been cool. Everyone knows it.
It's the fucking
But
Rock, dude.
but yeah, exactly.
You're gonna pay like millions of dollars to
Exactly.
get him to do
Exactly.
it.
Like I said, well, it is a thing, like pipe dream. You know what I mean? It's all right to say that you wanted it to be The Rock. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, okay, let me
It's
take
like
that
when
back.
they
It's all right to think that you want it to be The Rock. Doesn't mean you got to go around saying that shit.
It's like when they did the Hercules skin, they got Kevin Sorbo, awesome. Kevin Sorbo is not fucking The Rock, dude. Like that is a whole different thing. You gotta try to pay The Rock to do that. Kevin Sorbo is not on The Rock's level.
Oh no, not at all.
No offense to Kevin Sorbo, but yeah,
Eh,
you know it's true. I know you're listening out there. You know it's true.
Anyway, speaking about rope being a difficult material to code and design and everything like that, Master Fisherman, Maui's one. He actually spins his hook, which is uh, which is with the rope, you know. Um, and you can charge this for as long as you want, and you can cancel it. But when you refire it, it will damage enemies and it'll stop on the first god hit. Excuse Excuse me. Oh god, 50 minutes, 37 seconds sneeze.
Discord actually picked up that whole sneeze too. Usually it doesn't pick up the whole part, just like the hot part. But no, we heard the whole thing. That was a solid sneeze.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, that was the other thing. I was sick for a good majority of this week. I started feeling better Friday, so sorry. Um if Maui hits an enemy god, he reels them in, which will apply cripple and vortex, and it'll reel them in for 1.5 seconds. So pretty cool. Any
Want to talk
thoughts
about
on the one?
mystical Alua? Nah, the one's sick. The animation's like I thought it was gonna be a lot faster than it is. He pulls them in real slow.
But it's really cool.
Mao is really cool. Mao is a big dude. I thought he's got those muscles are gonna be putting in some overtime. They're really not. He's kind of barely pulling them in. But
Wow.
Yeah.
The disrespect.
Imagine the irony of seeing him not pulling someone like Ratatasker or Izanami, and
yeah,
then
it's like
yanking a
struggling to pull him in.
fucking and then yanking a fucking island out of the ground.
Yeah.
It's a little weird, but I mean, cool ability. I'll take over for the mystical
I
Alua
think
if you
it
want.
would have been better if he didn't even pull at all, right? If he just like latched onto him, and then if he himself moved like a Kepri. You know what I mean? If he didn't pull the rope, it just kind of gives. I know what Riggs is saying. It's giving him a bit of a weakling. Like, okay, you're
It's giving
struggling
him
to
a
pull
little
this
bit
guy.
of a limp dick vibe, like.
Yeah. Whereas if he would have just kind of
Like,
hooked him and then pulled like a Kepri, you know what I mean? If only just like taking a small step back or whatever. It wouldn't have to be to the same extent, but I don't know.
anyways, his second ability, basically Heimdall, Bifrost, but with an ally, and you can make him go in a big circle. And so you can teleport your homies out of the fight if they're in bad spots, or you can teleport your homie into a fight if you want to get his ass there faster. It's up to you. The choices are endless.
The choices are endless. Oh, there's gonna be y'all remember when Yamoja came out and how many people trolled with the Yamoja 3? I feel like this is gonna be very similar.
Yeah, this has some potential to be kind of fucky. If let's say just I'm pulling this randomly. I had no previous thoughts whatsoever. Imagine Enbright's on your team, and he's just really going off about how he thinks Warlock Staff is a bad item, and you just can't. No matter how much math you use to show him that he's just an idiot, he just will refuse to not fight you on that. Maybe I just happen to use my 2 and put him in the middle of a fucking Kraken or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
maybe.
see. Yeah, maybe
Maybe.
I'll just say, hey, go to timeout, buddy, and I'll just send you over there. But yeah, it does remind me of Emoji 3 where you can just like fuck with your teammates, like they're backing and you just like pull them somewhere else. Sorry, what were you gonna say? No.
It carries them to where Maui is, by the way. So you can't just like yeet your teammate
Yeah, but
into
I can
a
still do it because
whirlpool or a kraken unless you're standing in it.
yeah, which I'm gonna be standing in it because I'm tanky and Bright's
Because
not
you're
because
a
he doesn't have
tank.
Warlock Staff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
because he doesn't have
I'm picking it
Warlock
up. I'm
Staff.
picking it up. You want to get
Yeah,
those
he's
damage
playing a dumb
mitigated
mage.
numbers at the end of the game. I get it.
Yeah, he's playing a dumb puny mage. I'm playing someone that can make a mountain. And
We are not the
Not
same.
only is Riggs tanky, right? He has warlocks and e-staff, so he's got a shit ton of health too.
yeah,
Oh,
I
lots
have
of
Warlock
health.
Staff, and Enbright doesn't because he thinks it's a bad item, so he doesn't have as much health as I do. And then so I pull him into the Kraken with me and I say, hey, maybe you should buy Warlock Staff, buddy. You would have survived.
And the
Yep.
Kraken doesn't even do as
While
much
I
HP
swing away
as
on my
his
rope.
warlocks gives him because of prots.
Yeah, and then I swing away on my rope and laugh at him.
Uh,
This is all hypothetical, by the way. All hypothetical.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Slightly unrelated, not because we were talking about the one and how he like reels things in. I don't know if y'all saw, but in the release trailer, he actually reels in Warrior Tabby. I put the screenshot in our chat here. It made me giggle. That Smite game is still referencing the shoes, the boots from many moons ago. But
I did not see that. That's pretty good.
yeah, good callback for the diehard fans, His 3 solar swing, he leaps, latches his hook onto a ray of sunlight, swings from it. He swings back and forth before he leaps from the rope and slams his hook into the ground, damaging and stunning all enemies in the area. While he swings, he can reactivate the ability at any time to leap early. This is so cool. Like, the animation for this is so neat, and, I really like it. A lot of people are saying that they aren't a huge fan of it right now, and it could just be because it's, brand new, but there are a few people that have been voicing that they feel like it's a little clunky. I think it's really cool. I think it's one of the neatest, like, abilities to come out.
It looked clunky when they were showing it off, but yeah, he was also trying to do some like weird over the wall thing.
Yeah.
But
That's
then
right.
like
Yeah, we were watching that together. We were like, "What is this guy doing? Get fucking
but it's like
clumsy
a
out here, or whoever it
fat
was."
wall he was doing it to, and it's like let's just not try it there. Like you guys went through and made
Yeah,
conquest walls rather hard to leap over. I mean, not hard, just like can't just go with anyone at any spot, right? So, I don't know. It was very awkward. It does look a little awkward, and I don't know if it's because there's probably a delay, right? When you like hop up on it to hopping off.
There is
I
a little bit of
assume.
an animation delay, or just, like, kinda, like, gearing it up, but I thought it was really neat when I tried it in PTS, so I think I'm in the minority in thinking that I think it's, I think it feels or looks clunky because it's a new thing. I think we'll get used to it after
Yeah.
playing it.
Visually, again, I haven't actually played it, but visually, from like, because I was watching you and then just watching the PTS, it looks like in a lot of games, and again, it's usually rope. When you're swinging on the rope, when you go to try to jump early, but you can't quite yet. You know what I mean? It just kind of
Yeah.
looked like it had that vibe to it. I'll have to try it out, but I'm just going in with that expectation, so I don't think I'll be too upset.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I did play a little bit on PTS. I just basically went to PTS and just like went to jungle practice. I think it's a little clunky when you're trying to go over a wall. I think that's when you really feel it. Other than that, I mean, it's fine. So I think maybe just if they clean it up just a tiny, tiny bit, I think it'll be fine.
Now,
I
does
just
it
think it
feel
gets a little weird when
clunky
you try to go
because
over
you
a wall.
can't leap off if the targeter is too much in the wall? Is that what it is?
Yeah, you have
Okay.
to wait. It's a little slow. Like he swings kind of slower, and then like you have to wait for it to clear the wall to a point where it's over the wall. Like you said, you can't like targeter can't really be majority in the wall. It has to be a little bit over, and then you can go over it, and that's where it feels a little weird.
Probably again when they brought up how hard rope is too, like where
Mhm.
he is versus where the actual target are on the ground, because if it's a pendulum style arc, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, and you
I
don't
could see
control
all
yourself
this.
either. You're at the mercy of the swing. You don't get to like control how fast or slow you swing. You just get to jump off whenever you want. So it's like if you miss going over the wall the first time, you have to wait for him to come back and then wait for him to go forward again to go swing over. So it's like it's a little weird, but I
Sounds
think it's really
different.
cool.
Sounds different. I'm excited. He
Yeah,
looks cool. He looks
dope
really
dope
dope.
ass ability.
Well done, high res so far.
Yeah. The ultimate landfall. Maui selects an area, becomes CC immune, and leaps into the air. He throws his hook at the target area and pulls up an island, knocking all enemies in the area up into the air and pulls them in front of himself. The island remains on the battleground, blocking player movement for 4 seconds. Maui can reactivate the ability to destroy the island early. This is insanely sick to see, like, for the first time. I lost my shit. Like, this was really cool.
This is what me and Fro were talking about, where this dude can summon a fucking island, but then he pulls rat at the speed of like molasses. Where and this one's really really cool though. He just fucking plops him out and it becomes a wall and it knocks up and it does a
I
lot of damage.
I really like this ability. Looks exactly how it should. I think that's what's I like the most about it, right? Because we all know this part of Maui's story is he created Hawaii, right, or at least an island of it, by yanking it up from the sea. So it and this ability is just that he hops up in the fucking sky, throws his hook in the ground, and yanks up a motherfucking island. Like it's just done well.
I wish the island was a tiny bit bigger. Maybe like not like width wise, but just like height. I wish it was like a little bit taller maybe. Because he does pull an island, and it looks a little small.
I am somewhat curious if the reason
concept is
why
really cool.
it's smaller is because of any sort of limitations to the y-axis with the knock-up included, right? Because like Ymir wall displaces. Like a lot of those walls, they displace, whereas this one knocks you up and displaces.
I'm sure there's a coding nightmare, and I don't know any of the coding behind it. I just think visually, I think the island looks a little small to me.
Do you guys remember when you can get stuck on top of Cabrakan walls?
Mm-hmm.
You still
what do you
can,
mean?
dude. I had
What
that
do you
shit
mean
happen to
when we
me.
used to? You still can.
And Thorwall, you can still get stuck on Thorwall too.
Yep.
Oh, I haven't had that happen in forever.
Yeah, I had that happen. I was playing Vamana and I got fucking stuck on a Thorwall, and I was like, because you can walk through the wall. It's weird. So I should have been able to just walk through it, but like I ulted as I got Thorwalled, so like I ended up like on top of the wall and I couldn't move. Fucking awesome, dude. But that's Maui.
That's Maui. Maui's super cool, and it's definitely a
Solo
it's
laner.
definitely no, maybe.
Oh, what do you mean? Whoa, what do you mean? No, hold on.
I said maybe.
I know that aggro especially and Hyra is always like, listen, we want Guardians to be a support first.
in support. Yeah,
And then
no.
if they play solo, then that just happens to be a
We
bonus.
haven't had a true support Guardian release in a really long time.
Well, and like this, you can tell they did it on purpose for this one. His 2 doesn't do any damage, which is always like a big sign of like, oh, they want this not being solo lane, right? As little damage as possible. But you're telling me his autos, right, cleave forward. So you can clear it's almost like a pseudo Izanami where you can hit the whole wave with one auto. You're telling me that's not good for clear. All of his, I wouldn't, we're not going to read all the abilities and damage and all that stuff, but all of his abilities have over 300 damage, and his ult has over 600 base damage with like decent scaling. That's pretty good. I think you can forego. You just won't even level the 2 in solo. You just wouldn't put a point in it until you rotated. And I think you're chilling. I don't know. Maybe that's the solo laner in me that just wants to play everything in solo. But
and there's something to be said about if you were to forego going the 2, you
get more damage early.
More damage early.
Because all your other abilities will hit harder.
Yep.
That's what you do on Ardio. You don't level your ult or your 2 for a while.
Well, I mean, you pick up your 2 if needed, right?
Rarely.
The cripple, but
unless you can interrupt like a clear, that you don't. The cripple's useless in lane. Unless you can interrupt a clear with your 2 with your stun.
Depends who you're going against, right? But probably wouldn't be picking them if you knew who you're going against. But in a random match, right? Like Castir and Arthur, it's still going to be good against them. But
they still win that matchup.
Well, yeah, but you ain't gonna just fucking give up though, right? You still got to at least put in some effort and try to get some XP.
Well, yeah, like what I was saying is like all of his abilities they do a lot of damage to make up for the fact that his 2 doesn't do any damage. So we'll see. I think I would say solo would be pretty sick. That's Toll Maui solo, dude. You get the Death Toll proc on the whole wave because your autos go through the whole wave.
Sorry, just bumped my microphone. And then just like a bunch of buffs to gods. Camazotz is getting a buff. Thor is getting a huge buff. Ganesh is getting a buff. Athena's getting a buff. Hercules is getting a buff. Tyr is getting a buff.
Do we want to do like a one thing you like, one thing you don't like, kind of normally do, or?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. One thing.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll start. One thing that I love about this upcoming patch, aside from Maui, is the Toonie Terror Scylla skin coming out with the Reaping event. I love that art style a lot, and so I'm excited that we're getting another skin in that art style, and it is really cute and super fun. One thing I do not like is Thor getting this very unnecessary buff. Okay, there you go.
I want Fro to go next because I have a big one. So
I have 2. Well, 2/3.
That's fine.
The Devos and the Warlock staff only providing the pen after they I'm a big fan of that. On the Warlocks, it definitely shouldn't have been there because it's much of a power spike, right? At the start, and then it just keeps going. It's nice that the power spike is at the and you do have a bit of a weak spot when you do pick it up.
It makes it more consistent with like Transcendence because the Transcendence change they made a while back where you don't get the CDR anymore until it's fully stacked. It makes it more consistent with that. Like you don't get the bonus effect until you get all the stacks.
Right, and that's the same exact concept. And then the same with Devos. I like
well,
that.
That's a new change now.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a new addition, but it all falls in line with it. And it does open up. And I don't even think it opens up more builds really per se on Devos. It's just going to be a little bit better. Not Devos. Oh yeah, Devos. It's going to be able to compete with the Transcendence a lot better, or at least Devos hunters will be able to keep up with Transcendence hunters, or not at least be completely blown out when we get into a Transcendence meta. And I'm also a big fan of the 10 power on Charon's coin because I'm a fan of Charon's coin. So give him more power. I'd like it to go back up to 100, honestly, but that's probably too much.
But what do you hate?
I don't really have anything I dislike. I mean, I didn't really see anything that like stood out.
Is it my turn? Because boy, oh boy, do I got some shit. All right. I will. I'll do a rapid fire things I like. There's a lot of things I like. Heartward getting buffed. Amulet Stronghold getting buffed. Buy fucking Amulet Stronghold. It's probably the best Magic D item, second to Feyblessed. Super slept on. It's the glyph for Heartward where it gives you magic prots based on how many fizz prots you have. You can get upwards of like 60 fizz prots or magical prots just from buying the glyph. If you have a lot of fizz prots, it gives so much.
Right now, it's a great single magic defense item if you're going in a physical heavy build, especially like if you are against a team. If you're the Guardian, 100% if you're the Guardian and they only have one magical, or if they're in the standard one, this should be squeaked into your build if possible.
You think about the argument we had a couple like episodes ago, or not a long time ago, where it was the whole price versus what you get for the price of the items. 2150 for Heartward, pretty cheap. Heartward itself is like meh. Another 600 gold for the glyph. Let's say you get 40 fizz or 40 match prods from the 600 gold. I'd say that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, and plus the item itself, like you can get with the aura, the base, and if you, I mean, let's say you're building it as a single magic item and you are going, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt here in its favor. You're going a little heavy on the fizz prods. You can get, 40, 50. You're getting fucking damn near like 100 plus magical defense off a single item. My math isn't too terribly wrong there. Yeah, it's fucking, yeah, solid.
I think that's good. Unlike Nev, I like the Thor changes because now Thor can. The damage is useless, right? Thor wall does like no damage, but it can proc item effects now, which is the big deal. So now you can Thor wall someone in a fight and it will proc brawlers, or it will proc whatever you needed to proc. It'll proc Heartseeker. You can do a little more to the tank, right? That's the big deal with Thor walls. Now it will also stun, but it will do a tiny bit of damage. It's kind of like Athena taunt, right? Athena taunt does shit damage, but the fact that it does damage means that it will apply items, which is good. So that is cool for Thor. I really like that. What else do I love? I forgot the other thing I love. Fuck. What did I love? Oh, I love the Manticore and Feybless getting price adjustments. That's awesome, and they get better FX, so you can actually see what you are picking up. That is awesome. All right, now the big one, right?
Real quickly,
both kind of.
Is it? controversial just to make the things they pick up on the ground items they are in the store. You know what I mean? I know they were rather similar, but like,
I mean, you do. The spikes you pick up are the two daggers that are like crossed on the ground, and then the flower you pick up is the flower from Fabulous. It's like the same flower in the thing.
right, it is the same flower, but like it didn't have the hoop. The Fayblast wasn't as bad because I mean, how many flowers are in Smite? The spikes were they didn't have like the aura to them or anything like that. They were just like little spikes and kind of hard to see. And it's like what the fuck. And I know it's like just throw the pink little aura on them like they are in the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could be mean. I'm nitpicking. I'm nitpicking a little bit. They fixed it for a reason because I'm bitching, right? Exactly. Moving on.
So the big one, right? You guys kind of glanced over this. I think got a little bit glanced over just because Maui came out this patch. You can now beads anytime. Whether you're using an ability, you can. Let's say you're using a channel ability, right? My example, I was talking to Brad about this. Let's say I'm playing King Arthur, right? I'm spinning around, I'm doing my shit. Let's say I'm diving, let's say like a Cernunnos, right? And Cernunnos tries to ult me. I can now pre-beats the ult so I don't get turned into a pig while I'm in the middle of spinning on him. So therefore, his one counter to me spinning on him to get away is now useless because I can just beats it while I'm spinning, and I can still get the damage on the ability. I think that's kind of shit. The reasoning they gave for it was like that sometimes you'd get locked in an animation, even if you're basically finishing the animation, there was still like maybe a couple frames of you finishing the animation. So you would try to beat something and your beads wouldn't go off, and you'd get all mad. You'd say, "Well, I pressed my beads. Why didn't they go off?" And it was because you were like finishing the last frame of an animation, so you couldn't beat something. So now they're saying, "We'll just fucking let you beats anytime you want, no matter what you're doing, as long as you're alive." Is the way they worded it. You can beats. So that way, that gets rid of the I was in a post fire animation for like 0.1 second and I couldn't beat something because of that. Now you can do that. I think that opens up a really weird set of like rules in Smite, right? Because now you don't like yeah, you have to use your beats to not get punched or something. But like my example, right? Let's say I'm diving a carry.
That was a good example, by
and
the way.
They use their one CC they have. I know that certain can cripple nowness too, but let's say like he uses like his one CC. Let's say it's down. He uses his one CC he has to try to get away from me to like peel for himself, and I can just say, yeah, nah, I'm good, and I can just still be using my shit and get through it. Like, I
Right.
feel like
Well,
that's a little weird.
just to throw a little counter to that specific example, because I do feel like it is a very, very good example of what this is for, right? If your Arthur's already beadsing or buying beads to chase down Cernunnos, you're kind of fucked, right? Like,
I always said as a president in Conquest, you buy blink beads on almost everybody in solo, so you will always have beads for the most part.
what has solo lane become?
Well, there's a bajillion CCs in Smite, and if you get CC, it doesn't matter if you have a lot of CCR. If you get like one good CC chain on somebody, you just die. So you need beads.
If anyone's ever wondered why I left solo lane, it's because back in my day, we bought Horrific and Thorns.
Yeah, I loved it.
And we
They added a
tank
bajillion
items.
CCs to the game.
We bought tank items, and we were tanky and did stuff. Nowadays, they're out here buying soul eaters and blinking beads like fucking secondary junglers.
Yeah, I mean, if you go
Shake
TP,
my
you have to
cane
make
in
the
the
choice
air
of
at you,
do I get
fucking
blink or beads.
youngsters. Oh my god.
But that's my argument to the if he's buying beads,
Okay,
like
well,
pretty much
fair.
every let's just assume every soul laner has beads because that's kind of how it goes nowadays. So
I didn't
in general, everybody will have
realize.
beads.
I didn't realize Grandpa Fro over here getting left in the times. Fuck, but I don't know what to do now. If you got warriors buying beads, you're fucked.
I mean, it's not necessarily like that for like non-conquest game modes. I'm coming at it from conquest, but like I
Right.
can't say like if I buy beads and like slash or something that might not happen. But for conquest example, like most of the time I'll have beads in solo.
I don't really think that. I mean, yeah, I mean, Cernunnos is a good example again because it can't be DR'd. Beads is the only way out of it. So it does suck that you lose that. But it's kind of a niche thing because Arthur is also one of the few who can't cancel a lot of or his abilities, whereas a lot of other people can cancel a lot of their animations, their channeled stuff. Maybe not necessarily post and pre-fire. It is very niche. I think honestly, this is going to mainly affect like higher level play. But
Yeah, because a lot of
obviously,
people aren't pre-beating
enough
things. But
situations will come up where it obviously will affect mid and lower level play. It's just to a noticeable extent, or to the extent that the player will notice. Probably not.
well, like my big thing, my big example, I use Arthur because he has a lot of channeled abilities. And I'm thinking basically anybody with a channeled ability, right? So like Guan Yu 3, right? Let's say Guan Yu is running down a
I
Nox,
no
and
no no.
Nox throws
You
down her
didn't have to.
bubble.
The
You can
Arthur is a great
pre-beat.
example because he cannot cancel any of his stuff. No, the Arthur Kernanos is perfect example, right? Because non-DR'd alt and a uncancelable channeled ability. Like they are great examples.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like any example, right? Like Guan Yu 3 into like a Nox, right? Nox puts down her silence. It's like, oh, Guan Yu's trying to go on me. I'll just silence his 3. Well, Guan can just beads the 3 now. It still beats the silence and just still run me down now. It's like it's just weird shit like any channeled ability, right? Like Tyr wants to go fearless to Hera. Hera is gonna polymorph the Tyr before you can fearless. Nah, I'll just beads it while I'm fearlessing, and now you're still gonna get knocked out. Like it's real goofy in my opinion. They're just
Now,
like
there
what
are
you can beads
some
now.
downside because it is a bit like taking the training wheels off, right? Because you can now beads inside of a Heimdall ult, inside of a Kumba ult, inside of a Giannis. Well, I mean, you could a Giannis portal. I said Heim. Who the fuck?
I will say any banishes like that,
Yeah,
if you beads it, it does not do anything. So if you get Heim Molten, you're already in Nibelheim. You beads while you're there, it doesn't do anything. So you just wasted your beads.
yeah. So there
Same
are
thing,
instances where
Kumba.
you can waste your beads like that. It's definitely there's more beneficial ones, but again, taking the training wheels off, usually that's more beneficial opportunities than not, right? I don't
Yeah,
necessarily have a problem with
I
it
think high
because on
end
the same
high
hand, you
end
got
I
to
think it's gonna
remember
be a
this
big
is
deal.
also going to mean a lot of people are going to fat finger their beads when they probably shouldn't have. This honestly is just going to lead to more beads being down in the lower levels, so I'm not too terribly upset. I think in my eyes, you might get more kills because your beads are down, dummy.
Yeah, I think I'm coming at it from like a more I don't want to sound like I'm like an elitist, but I'm coming at it from like a more like higher end thought level where it's like now if I'm using because like I know I play a lot
The
of
way
solo,
you
I play a
say
lot of
that without
tanks.
sounding like an asshole is you say a ranked perspective.
Yeah.
That's how the elitists do it without sounding like a dick. I mean, we know what they're
Of
saying, but they like to pretend like we don't.
I'm just thinking like any channeled ability that like a lot of tanks have a lot of channel abilities, right? Like Atlas pull is pretty channeled. You have to wait a while to pull somebody. Like Serb 2, pretty channeled. Now it's like yeah, now basically of somebody who's playing one of those gods can make the decision of if I beats this interrupts, do we get a kill off of it? And before you couldn't even make that thought process, and now you can. And I think it's gonna be it's interesting to see how that'll play out. I think. Like you said, I think that will lead to more kills. Whether that's good or bad, we'll see. Because I feel like that might be a little frustrating now to play against. Because now you're like one deterrent of these characters where it's like, oh, I can interrupt this and be fine. Well, now if he has beads up, he can make the choice of, nah, I'll be fine anyways, and he'll just run you down still. Like a
But yeah,
little weird
because
in
you
my
gotta
opinion.
imagine, like if we look at that Guan Yu example, you're still getting the Guan Yu's beads just so he can keep doing his Talos assault on you, right? And as a Nox
Yeah,
player, if my pad can get anyone's beads, that's usually a victory. I mean, yeah, unless they are able to keep running me down and kill me. But if I see you, if you're
yeah. I don't think you're
pre-beadsing
gonna
to
beads
keep
if you're
your
full
or if
health.
you're beadsing your Talos assault as I'm trying to throw my pad down, right? I'm still probably gonna get you with the Shadow Lock. Or I mean, I guess you could, see the Shadow Lock coming, and that's what causes you to beads. But that still, knocks combo for beads, which is almost always a victory. So I don't know. I don't see it necessarily as a harmful thing. I just see it's going to be probably a bit of a awkward thing at first, right?
Yeah, I think
It
I'm
might
having
it
like a
might
negative
feel a
reaction
little
to it.
well, it might feel a little counterintuitive too. Once we actually get going, who knows?
I think I'm just having a negative reaction to it because it's one of those things where it does change the way like fundamentally the game works in a certain like a certain mechanic of the game that's worked forever in one way is now going to work in a different way, and maybe I'm just like, don't change the game that way because that's how it's been forever. But now it's
Listen
like,
here, you just told me that solo laners are buying blinking beads. Put down your cane, you
yeah,
old man. The
but
times are
that's
fucking
different.
changing.
That's meta stuff versus mechanic of a game. Like that's that all meta stuff will always change like that. But like the way you beats
You
before has always
motherfuckers have been
been one
buying
way
damage
versus
for
now.
like 2.5 years. I
Yeah,
say
it's
that
awesome. You
we
can
used to
actually
pick up
play fun
Jotuns
stuff in
too. We
solo.
used to pick up Jotuns. No, let me lie to you. Grandpa always lies. They did this shit too.
Yeah, you can get away with fun shit in solo now. You can play full damage, fucking chlamydia if you want, and get away with it. Fun. You have options. But Nev, do you wanna weigh in on the bead change or no?
I mean, as somebody who very, very oftenly forgets that I even have beads, it's whatever.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you don't even fucking use your beads. All right, next. I think that's it, right? Oh, they also okay. I want to go back to this. Why the fuck do they buff Heartseeker?
Mm.
Item's already nuts, and they made it way cheaper, and the health threshold is lower now to get more damage.
Because tanks are strong.
Strunk with a K.
Yeah, but you already built that item on like every assassin build.
Right.
If you build that or like a Titan's Bane or both, in like every assassin build,
Right.
and now they're just making it better.
Right.
It's weird.
Because tanks are strong. They nerfed other assassin items because tanks are buying them. Now they gotta buff other assassin items.
So that tanks can buy. I mean, it tanks. If you're gonna play a tank and you want a one damage item, Heartseeker is usually the best one because you could proc it with 4 different abilities a lot of the time. So it's like, it's sick. Also, another thing I
I
hate.
feel
Sorry, I'm like
like
taking over the love and hate thing. Another thing I hate,
no,
tier.
you're good. You're good. I
They
feel
fucking
like no,
the
I'm
tier
taking this
changes.
over for now. I feel like it. There's a meme that I can't quite put my finger on, where it's like two kids, like you're trying to, or maybe it's the puppies. That's what it is. Where like they're like separate food bowls, and the one puppy just eats both food bowls, and that's assassins, right? And warriors, and their food bowls are their like different items. And then the warrior just comes in and just eats up all the fucking assassin items, and they get nerfed because of them.
And dude, warriors are just bigger assassins with more health.
They really are. And a little,
Assassins are just little babies.
well, they just spread their damage out with a little more AoE, less single target, right? Little less mobility, but a little more CC.
Dude, speaking of CC, fucking tier changes, right? Did you see this shit? I think Nev saw it.
Riggs, we did a
Yeah.
brief overview, and now you're going like every thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Now
no.
you're reading everything, right?
Ah,
We
there's
already
so much I
did
didn't read.
community corner. We can do thank yous and wrap this up.
No, I didn't.
Not
I didn't
tier,
see
bro.
the tier changes. What did
Tier,
they do?
listen, small change, small thing. Tier fucking change stance, right? It used to be, oh, I'm in assault stance. Now I get power. Oh, now I need to switch to get prots. So I have my prots.
Does it just
Nah,
give
now
you
you just
both
get
now?
both.
Yep.
Well, you get half of the stance you're not in. So if you're in power stance, you get half the prots you would get.
Yep.
If you're in assault stance. So now you just get shit for free.
Why
Yep.
half? It gives so okay. All right, I need to do a secondary ramp.
It gives 50 of each if it gives you 50 power and 50 prots with other stance you're in if it's match rank. So you get 25 power or 25 prots if you're in the opposite stance.
Is it 50? Okay, I thought it was only 30.
It's 50, yeah.
I thought it was only 30.
No, it's 50.
50 is a little bit different because I'm like, yo, are we really like you're swapping back and forth between 15 power and 15 prots, because that's just so minor. But 25 and 25, right? That's a bit of a difference.
I mean, you don't max it till like third, but I mean, still.
Yeah,
That's
all
I got. I'm done patch notes. I'm done patch notes. That's all I got.
I mean, I get it, I guess, but that's only you're still doing it. Yeah, like you just said, you're doing it last. And let's see, if it's 50, I assume it's 10 per level, right? So you're gonna be getting 5 per level.
You would think it's 10 per level, but it's not.
Oh my god, let me guess. It probably starts off at like 30 and then goes up 5.
It's 8 per level. And it starts off at 18. What a weird number.
So literally at level 1, if you put a point into it, if you do, a lot of tiers will skip putting points into the max their other 2, right?
Which you should, by the way.
So it's 9.
But yeah, you'll get 18 power or prots, and then 8.
Or yeah, 9. No, I'm sorry, you just said 18. So it's so dumb. It's so dumb. No one's maxing this. This isn't gonna do anything. This is just literally a late game buff to tier. That's all this is. A minor one. I'd say it's probably a decent one to his aggressive stance, right? Because the extra 25 prots is solid. 25 power in your defense stance doesn't mean shit. Aside from your heal's going to heal for a little bit more. Not much, but a little. So weird. What the fuck? All right, moving on. We already did the CC. Are we really on the thank yous?
Yep.
Right. I got to get that pulled up. This is why I didn't want to host. I'm sorry, because I got the OBS. I got the OBS open, so I can't fucking. I got to get everything going on my phone.
But you do this anyways when you're not hosting. You're the one that does the thank you.
Well, while you're pulling that up,
but yeah, but then when other people are rambling, I'll get this things up. But I had show notes, or I had the patch notes popped up. You know what I mean?
While you're pulling that up, Riggs can remind everybody what the community corner is that we discussed earlier in the episode, in case they fast forwarded and didn't hear it.
Yeah, if you were fast forwarding through all the Overwatch stuff and maybe went too far, the CC is come up with a game mode that is. I'm gonna put requirements on it. Come up with a game mode that is fun, and not shit.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Good. For Smite. For Smite.
Yeah, for Smite.
Yeah,
so like, you know, like Raid Boss or something like that, like we used as an example.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. You want to put that in the community corner Discord channel so that way we remember that we read the community corner this week?
I didn't want to type it while we were recording, so that way you don't hear my typing.
Yeah,
I was trying to be courteous to the editor.
That. Yeah, whoever is editing this week, it's not me.
I think it's Fro.
Honestly, I don't know who it was. I put editor ? I figured we'd discuss that at some point. But
yeah, because
you know what else
you were supposed to be last week, so
yeah. But then you covered for me, and I didn't know if you were this week and how we were doing that or whatever. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So we need to say thank yous to Sadons for doing all of our wonderful thumbnails. I will get last week's episode up. I gotta go through. It didn't actually get recorded, so I gotta actually like make the stuff like that. And I kind of forgot about it. It will come up on YouTube. I apologize, guys. I do try to stay on top of that. And thank you to all of our wonderful patrons that help us improve the podcast every week, and all the ones also participating in the Blood Bowl League. Thank you very much, and I apologize for all the hassle we've had. But thank you to Aereo Steel, Asbestos Dog, Weatherman Keith, Jade Flagon, Baseball Griff, Bombi, Danny, Caveman, Neo, Coffin Monkey, City Arlets, Gilly, Snorlax, Weatherman, Adios, Sir Ember, Cabarojo, Famous Freak, Stoffmeister, Backlash, Sadons, Dr. Godfucker, Lantern, Reese, Warlordio, Batskid, Echo Dunk, Doc, Necros, Otter Joe, Riggs, Dracon, Glenwiggle, Granite Boys, Camel Hoss, Void vs. Void, Enbright, Scion, Gemini, Batman, Sandman, Aquasoft, Kilowatt Man, I'm a Hater, Mr. Man, Colorado, Amberbug, Folk Hero, and the Big Red.
Thank Serious heart hands.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
By the way, if there's anyone's name I've ever missed or am missing, at me in the Discord, at me on Twitter, like, I don't know, post a comment on like SoundCloud. I don't check the other ones. Don't do those ones. But yeah, just let me know.
Oh, also, for the patrons, I put a thing in the patron chats asking for some suggestions on some Patreon content you guys might want.
Yeah.
We did
Let
not
us
get
know.
a ton. We got a lot of tier list kind of suggestions and some other suggestions, but if you guys have any, let us know and I will start getting on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're out of here. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, congrats, Nev, for Tennessee, by the way.
Oh yeah, thanks. We won solely because I wasn't watching. Anytime I watch, we lose. So, I have to make that sacrifice and not watch in order for us to win. So, you're welcome. What can I say except you're welcome? All right, bye.
Oh, fucking, we're out of here.